I'm 26 now, which is it's a weird age. It's right there in the middle of a lot of things. Like half the people my age really have their lives together and know what they want to do with their lives, and half really don't. So, for example, my best friend from childhood is in med school, and she's studying to be a doctor, which is incredible. Whereas with me, my parents still spell things in front of me so I won't understand them. They're like, don't tell her she has to come with us to CHURCH. And I'm like, oh my God, Mom. Like, where are we going?
Welcome to the Positive People Posse Living Room. I'm your host, Dom Green, life enthusiast and marketer of Positive People Posse. Today I have a special guest. She is hilarious. I actually saw her in person doing stand-up in New York one day. Her name is Luisa Lange. Luisa Lange, thank you for being on the Positive People Posse Living Room.
Thank you for having me. I forgot that you actually saw me in person, and that's how you found me.
I slid in your DMs afterwards.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I want to work with you somehow, some way.
Yeah, I forgot that it was though like me on stage in person, because it's like it feels like so long since I've been on stage that I'm like, I forgot people used to find me in that way.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, you know,
that's awesome.
Pre-COVID, I think it's like, is it BC now? Like before COVID? Is that the term that people are using?
PC, pre-COVID.
PC or BC, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we're mid-COVID. We're MC right now. We're MC, which is the hardest point.
I think there was a line in your stand-up that I remembered. It was something about you wearing overalls and being a grown woman in overalls or something like that. And I think that's what had me. I'm not sure if you have that recording or not, but I definitely feel like the users need to hear that bit.
That might have been a riff, because I don't remember that joke, but I do wear. Do you know where you saw? Were they?
It was
I've done that.
I want to say it was in East Village.
Okay, I mean
some basement. It was like a dungeon. It was like a sex
classic.
dungeon.
Yes, well, that's where I typically perform. I do wear overalls a lot, and it's like, aren't you 26? Like, hello? Yeah, that might have been a riff, but I do wear them.
I feel like, you know, the stand-up places in like East Village or anywhere in New York, when you go to a basement, you're bound to like have a rat run over your foot. Like,
oh, it's disgusting. It's like my parents would visit me and I'd be like, I have a show tonight, you should come see. It's at like this place, whatever. And they'd show up and come underground and be like, where are we? Like, this is what you do?
Yes.
Like, yeah. And I'm just like, asbestos, rats. Like, I love.
The air feels moist.
Oh,
it's just like a weird damp feeling in a basement, right?
Yeah. And weirdly, I miss that.
Oh, I'm sure. Let's talk about that. So, you know, obviously, pandemic has like changed a lot for everyone, including us. You know, us being a digital marketing company, like we lost a lot of business. Now we're kind of like bouncing back, and it seems like everyone's starting to find their new flow. How's this pandemic like shifted everything in stand-up for you, and everything the life that you had before COVID?
I mean, it's so crazy. It's like there's been different this pandemic, I feel like, has been going on for so long. I've had like different phases of it where like I think of my career differently. Like in the beginning, I wasn't really doing much because I was like, all right, this is going to be a nice 2-week break, and then I'll come back and I'll do stand-up again. But then I slowly started to realize, like, wait a minute, I'm not going to be able to do stand-up for a long time. So like at first I wasn't quick to jump on like change your ways right now, because that's not very me. I'm not like on the ball. Like some comedians I know immediately started like live shows on Instagram, where I was kind of like, cool, I get to chill for a couple weeks and then go back. So started out as like me kind of just taking a break, which was nice because I needed that. And then it's like everything has shifted now to be digital, and I've had to shift like the way that I use Instagram, the way that I use every app really, because the only way to get your stuff out there now is digitally. Like the way that you found me is on stage. Nobody's going to see me on stage. So if I want to keep building my audience, I have to like change the medium that I'm using, but also like the kind of comedy is different because it's on Instagram and on TikTok. It's like 30 seconds of like quick material. It's not stand up, you know, it's different comedy. So I had to like, and I still am, I'm still learning what works digitally and what doesn't. But it's been fun. It's been like, I've been trying to do a lot more video content, which I never really used to do with stand up because I would just go on stage and post my stand up. But I don't know, I think it's forced me to get a little more creative.
Yeah, you know, I love that people are presented with a new challenge and they have to overcome it. And one thing that I've been seeing, like some of my favorite shows, The Daily Show or Bill Maher's show on HBO, you know, some of these political shows, they have a comedic performance where they utilize an audience, most often BC, before COVID, right?
Totally, yeah.
And you almost need that, and you're like waiting for that, you know, that feeling, that energy that you get from the audience, and it's not there. And so you have to almost be like on beat the entire time. Is that correct?
Completely. And that's the other thing. Like I did a Zoom show one time, like kind of in the beginning of quarantine, and it was like so not enjoyable because it was
cringe.
What I love, yeah, it was. I was cringing at myself. Like it was just what I love about stand up is feeding off of the audience, and you say something and they react a certain way, which affects how you react and how you keep going. But with Zoom, like you couldn't hear anybody. It was just me being like, hey, like, what's the deal with sandwiches? Like no one, like, I don't know. It was just so awkward. And I was like, that's when I was kind of like, all right, I'm not going to be doing stand up during this because stand up via Zoom or via technology is a different art form. And it's not what I love. Like I love stand up for what it is. And I'm not going to try and change it and make that something that can exist digitally. So I think that's when I realized like, oh, wow, I can't rely on stand up anymore to be my center of comedy. I have to find ways to like keep up with these kids on TikTok who are making like me like scrolling through TikTok trying to figure out like how these people get so many followers.
I really don't understand how someone can get 1 billion views on TikTok still, you know, like
it's crazy.
And when you think that your content's good, you only get like 5,000 views, which is pretty good, but it's not like TikTok good, right? You're like
for just the same dances over and over again too.
I did have one video. Content? Yes, I did have one video that got 900,000 views.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, I made it. Awesome. I arrived. But
that's officially you made it.
But I didn't make it because I basically took someone else's video and then I put like some captions or something in it and then it went viral. And I was like,
but see, that's the thing. Like you are also learning how to like be creative and use this new medium of like quick visual stuff to make people laugh. And it's been kind of a fun challenge for me, but it's definitely different. And like it's interesting because the way people get famous now, or like I think the concept of like celebrity has completely changed. Like you can get famous from your couch now. You don't have to be like getting up and doing mics every night like I do, like getting on stage every night, like working really hard doing this. You can really like we're seeing like in real time these people being stuck at home and like blowing up.
It's really like, what do you have to lose, right? Just put yourself out there. And that's why I love the medium of TikTok. It's unlike my friend groups on Instagram or Facebook. Like, I really just don't give a fuck if I'm on TikTok. You know, like I could just be whoever I want to be. And there's a crowd out there for it. I mean, if you think of anything and try to find a hashtag for it, like
it's out there.
It's out there. The funniest one that I looked up recently was reptilian. Have you not?
And I bet there's like a lot.
Oh, it's so weird. It's so strange. It's all about conspiracy, right?
Oh my
conspiracy theories on everyone being like a lizard, some alien form, or some shapeshifter or something like that. And it's the strangest thing out there. And you'll find like you'll go down a wormhole. Like you get sucked in real quick.
Yeah. Oh,
You're just watching nothing but loop after loop after loop.
Oh yeah, especially TikTok. You end up in this one community of TikTok, and then suddenly you're like watching videos of people like scatting, and you're just like, what is scat? What is scat community? What is scat culture? Like, you know what I mean? It just the weirdest stuff, but it's fun. It's there's something for everyone out there.
What's one of your oddly addictive things to watch or participate in? Like was it ASMR?
ASMR.
Yes.
I don't love that because
it's so creepy.
I hate like the sound of people eating, and like I'm really sensitive about sounds, but my favorite thing to watch is hydraulic press videos, which is just
oddly
like
satisfying stuff.
Big, like exactly, oddly satisfying stuff. But a hydraulic press is like a metal thing that just crushes. You put something in there and it just crushes it under the weight. And they'll do like microwaves, light bulbs, like foam
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh, exactly. You just watch it like squish, and it's just so satisfying. So that's my like. I like soap cutting. People like cutting soap. It's a weird thing that I like. But yeah, there's weird stuff out there, and
this is the world that we live in.
This is the world we live in. You stumble upon it, and then suddenly you're like, yeah, I'm the person who watches hydraulic press videos now. Like that's part of my thing.
Then you find a group and you guys are like talking about just sharing openly these videos.
Yeah. And then you meet the one in that group. And then you meet your people.
And your hobbies are just like basically soap cutting together.
Yeah.
What you guys do this weekend? We soap cutted.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. In a way.
Oh gosh. So tell me a little bit about some of the pet peeves that you have in life that kind of maybe like been interwoven into your stand-up. Is that really your style? What is your comedic style?
My comedic style is very like self-deprecating, but not in a way where it's overboard and it's like, okay, ooh, like we feel bad for you now. Because I have seen comedians go up and really like take the self-deprecating thing to a new level, to the point where the audience is like, are you okay? Like, are you good? So a lot of it is, I would say, like self-deprecating, but very, it's weirdly narcissism plus what's the thing where you feel like inferior?
Inferior?
Something complex. It's like a combination, okay, I can't think of the words, but it's like a combination of like narcissism and then like self-deprecation at the same time. Like this weird balance that feels very millennial to me, like of being like obsessed with yourself and being like, because doing comedy itself is a very vain thing to do.
Yeah, it's almost like, this is why I'm different. This is why you need to appreciate me.
Yes, if you're doing comedy, you have to have this belief that people give a shit what you're saying.
Yeah.
So like that's there, and that combined with like this self-deprecating thing sort of makes like, I think it's very relatable millennial content. So I make fun of myself a lot is my main thing, but I like to point out things that I notice about myself that people are all experiencing but have never really put it into words. So when I say it, they're like, oh my God, that happens to me too. Like, glad I'm not the only one. You know what I mean?
You know, I really appreciate your satire that you bring to the stage. Everything that I see that you put on Instagram, it just cracks me up. I probably don't give you enough appreciation. Like,
no, you do.
I feel like some days I'm one of those, I feel like I'm overly like supporting people sometimes. So it looks like I'm stalking people. And so like, if I'm like watching someone's stuff, I'll be like, ha ha ha, click like or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me, how many likes have I given this person in a row? They think that I'm stalking them.
You gotta always give the
I'm a cheerleader. That's who I am.
Nobody's gonna, yeah, exactly. Nobody's gonna complain about like getting too many likes from somebody.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I wouldn't. Anyone out there watching this?
I love the love. People love the love. Like, here's the thing. You put a lot of work into what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So someone may see like a little bit. It could be 30 seconds, but that is your life's work right there. Yeah. Like, even like trying to master the right caption or, the whole thing or the edit, this whole edit for this 30-second video could have taken up half your day, and then you put it up there
whole day
and you get like 20 views and you're like, gosh, well, that kind of sucks.
It's like a dagger to the heart. Like when something flops that you worked so hard on and you thought it was so funny, you're just like, yeah, okay, never mind. That was a joke. Yeah, I didn't think it was funny either. Like, no big deal.
I mean, I care, but I don't care because I'm still going to go about my business. I don't think that I'm riding on hits, right? do anything, right? But it's still like, I wish it still met a certain threshold.
Exactly. Well, if you look at my Instagram, you were kind of just saying this about TikTok, like you will just do whatever on TikTok. I've kind of reached that point with Instagram too. Like just posting really weird, like stuff that I'll post it being like, you know what, people might not get this, but I think it's funny. So I'm going to put it out there. So I've reached this point where I'm now Instagramming for myself. And
I'm the same way. I love it.
Yeah, like it's for me. And it will draw the people who think it's, you know, like people who think it's funny will show up, and it's like my most authentic self in a way. I've just like, I don't know, my Instagram used to be like pictures of me and my friends, and then I started comedy and it slowly become like weirder and weirder and weirder. And I'm like, people who followed me from before I was a comedian are probably like,
you
didn't sign up for this. Yeah, like, what?
They did not subscribe to that.
They did not sign up for that. They signed up for like a few photos every month. Now it's like every day, tweets, videos, weird, me dancing, like, you know.
If it's my personal Instagram, not Positive People Posse, but my personal Instagram, I really don't care about losing anyone, because I'm like, this was who I was this entire time. You just didn't see enough of it, right? And so I probably lost, you know, maybe like 20 people in the last, 6 months, but I'm okay with that. That's actually a pretty good average these days.
No, I lose followers every time I breathe, literally. Like on Twitter too, every time I tweet something, I lose like 8 followers, and I'm tweeting all the time. So I'm like, oh, okay, good.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's because people are not happy with your content, or is it something to do with them? I think it's a personal problem, their own problem, right? I'm not the problem.
Know. Or maybe like they're trying to like fix their follower ratio, and they're like,
okay,
this girl?
That's what it is.
I didn't even know.
Definitely a follower ratio. Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because you were just saying like, if people don't like what you're putting out there, you're like, too bad, because that's been me all along.
Yes.
I was talking to a friend recently about like, when I use dating apps and I match with somebody and they somehow like, a lot of it is connected to social media. So if I match with somebody and they find my Instagram or my Twitter, it's like, hello, there's no mystery at all. Like, here's my entire life. Here's like the weirdest stuff about me. It's just like, there's no mystery to it. So and my friend was being like, do you like that, or do you mind that? And I was like, I kind of think it's nice, because you know what you're signing up for immediately. There's no like it's, you know what you're getting into.
Yes. Well, and like also it's like a law of attraction, right? Like, you want people to be on your level to some degree. Like, you want to attract those type of people. Like,
exactly.
I don't want to be the only person that like makes everyone laugh. Like, I almost want that ecosystem where I'm bouncing new ideas off people.
Yeah, I need that.
We're just enjoying it. Yeah.
That's what keeps me going. But it's like, one time I posted this video of me dressed up as Dumbeldore, like catching up on emails. It was like so weird. And I had matched with this guy, and then he followed me on Instagram, and then like saw that and then unfollowed me, and we never talked again. And I was like, cool, like you can't handle it anyways. Yeah. I shouldn't be with you anyways. Like, if you don't like my Dumbeldore videos, you don't deserve me.
If you can't deserve me at my worst, you don't deserve me at all, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't handle me at my Dumbeldore, you don't deserve me at my best.
Yeah, Dumbledore is that's an oddly satisfying character right there. I want to know how people come up with these characters sometimes.
I know.
Did you just distract yourself from a yawn right there?
No, I don't think, did I?
You had the open mouth yawn for a second.
No, I just have to say
you blocked it.
You got to block on a Zoom call. I posted a video of trying not to yawn on a Zoom call.
And here it is, right here.
Now you're at work. At work, I'm on Zoom calls all the time, and if a yawn comes over me, I try to suppress it, but I end up just being like making a really weird face. It's like, you should just yawn, you know?
Yeah.
You should just yawn. But the Dumbledore thing was like, it was for Halloween. I thought I hosted a show on Halloween, and I was like, to all the comics, I was like, you guys, everyone come in costume, whatever, like, it's gonna be so fun. Everybody shows up in like, with like cat ears or like something so minimal, and I am head to toe Dumbledore. beard to the floor.
It's not like you grabbed out of your purse and you just put it on at all. You like actually showed up.
I came in costume, and I got on stage and I was like, this is kind of awkward. I sort of thought we were all on the same page, but now it's just sort of like me dressed as Dumbledore. But it was fun. It was very fun.
You know what? I've always been that type of person that can just put myself out there, you know, like I don't care, because if anything, it's one of the awkward conversation and awkward things. I actually get a lot of satisfaction out of it. Now, can you tell me about a time where you've like bombed on stage and you almost just had to laugh it off afterwards?
Oh God, too many times to even, they all blend into one. It's such a part of stand-up is bombing that you just get so used to it. And it happens especially at open mics, because those are where, that's like our practice.
Yes.
Shows are like the games. So typically you don't really bomb at shows because you plan out what you're going to say and you do all jokes that you know are going to work because they have worked historically. But at open mics, you go in and that's when you try your new stuff, or like something you thought of when you were like really high and it's funny to you, and then you try it out and everybody's just like, and you're just like, oh, I can't think of.
I gotta say this much though. Okay, so BC, before COVID, it's just been a bucket list thing for me to just do stand-up, you know, just do it.
You should.
And I did it.
Yeah.
I did it before. So I did it in Kansas City, and it was decent in Kansas City. And then when I did it in New York, I thought I did pretty good, but I don't think the audience was the right audience, because I was performing in nothing but like comedians. The crowd was nothing but comedians.
Yes.
And I feel like they're kind of haters. They're like low-key haters.
That's the thing about open mics, is that it's typically the audience is all comedians.
Yes.
Because they are there waiting their turn to go up and practice their jokes. So they make up the audience, and you go on and it's like, sometimes people don't want to laugh at you.
Yeah.
They don't want
I had one guy in the audience laughing pretty much. Like that was
yeah, like I will always laugh at any comedians on stage if I think it's funny. Like, why be a hater, you know?
Be a congratulator. See that?
Be a congratulator, yeah. That's awesome.
That's what we need.
I'm glad you tried forayed into stand-up.
It was funny because like it's not something that I want to do. I just like ideas, and if I have an idea in my mind, I'm just going to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so putting yourself out there almost just helps you in every bit of life, like meeting people or whatever. And you know, I'm just all about meeting people, and you never know where those conversations might lead.
If you have even the slightest spark in your mind that's like, I should try this, you should just do it. Like, why not?
That.
And especially in terms of stand-up, I have seen people, like, I have seen some bad stand-up. And those people who are so bad and it's their first time, they go up and they're really bad and it's awkward and it's horrible, but like, they survive and they keep living their lives and they move on. It's like, what is the worst that can happen is that you bomb and you're not funny. Like, what is the risk versus reward? You know what I mean? It's not that big of a risk, but I think people see it as like, it would be devastating if I did badly, but it's like, you do badly. I
actually like have came up with formulas. If I bomb on stage, people boo me. Like, I've actually came up with formulas to be like embracing the boo. Like, knowing that this is, I like crave that. Boo. Oh, I would almost want the boo. Like, I'm waiting. I'm going to have someone just like boo. I'm going to pay someone.
You're prepared for it.
Yeah.
You are ready for the boos when they're done.
Bring it on.
That's when you know you've made it, I think, is when you have like a bunch of people booing you. That's like that's a milestone. I don't know, I'm just kidding. I think like that's just I don't know, man.
Have you ever heard anyone get booed before?
No, not at my level of stand-up. Like, not at any level, actually. Booing is a big thing.
The only boo I've ever seen is probably like, what's that guy's name? Fozzie from like Sesame Street?
Oh.
Tomato
guy? Who?
Fozzie. Is it Fozzie?
Comedian?
He's on Sesame Street. He's like a bear. He's like a puppet.
Oh, yes.
Like a Muppet.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Those were boos.
Those were real boos.
Those were real boos. I've never seen it in my stand-up career. But hey, there's a first for everything. So I'm sure it's coming.
So tell me, is there anything that you've been doing right now, like as far as your dating life? Like, how's your dating life been
Oh God.
during the
So
pandemic?
it's been non-existent, and it looks like it's going to continue to be that way. I am so awkward. Like, I know I don't come off as awkward, and I do stand up, and it's like, how could this person be awkward? But like, if I were to do the idea of doing a Zoom date or a FaceTime date, I would rather do anything else. Like, so that's for me, like, I would rather meet somebody in person. So I haven't been using the apps really because there's no option to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I could do a FaceTime date. It just freaks me out. And so I really haven't been doing it, which sucks. But every now and then I'll re-download it and like see what happens. And everyone who matches with me is just like really weird, like wearing like a fur hat or a fedora, and I'm just like, oh, this isn't what I wanted.
So no fedoras.
My two things: no fedoras, no fur hats.
Is the fedora more of the short bucket hat that has like the Michael Jackson point, or is it all
Yeah,
brim hats?
not all brim hats. I don't know. Hats are weird for me. Not the hat
The
you're wearing. Not
fedoras are very weird, especially like the
like
pinstripe ones.
straw hats.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do straw hats. I'm not trying to date someone who wears straw hats. Like, I should just put that in my profile. Listen, if you wear straw hats, keep swiping because
Oh
it's
my
not gonna happen.
gosh. I did see that your friend Nikki Glaser had
Hmm.
a Zoom dating thing,
Yes,
right?
she does speed dating
Speed dating. Did you? I
on.
didn't watch it, but
Yeah,
tell
I
me
watched
about
some of
that.
it.
Was it good?
It was really good, and I think it's funny because she does it to push herself. Like, she says, I'm so awkward. I hate dating, but like, listen, I'm gonna just do it and I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna try. And it's funny, she's like, I'm gonna try not to be like comedian me. I'm gonna try to be vulnerable me. And it's like a little bit of a challenge. And I think having an audience almost like would maybe like makes her feel comfortable because she's so used to having an audience. So it
This was like a
helps in a
real
way.
attempt, like at kind of dating online.
I think it is.
Oh
Um, it's a little bit
gosh.
entertainment and it's a little bit real.
There's
I've
got to be a
watched some of
lot of
them.
weirdos out there, for sure.
Oh, for sure. I don't know how she picks the people that she ends up speed dating with, but it's a good idea.
I
I
feel
mean,
like there's just always a guy in the shadow somehow just trying to get a foot photo or something, right?
there's always someone ready to like pounce. Yeah.
It's the approach for the weirdo. I'm talking about bad weirdo. Is the
Yes.
guy that just like, hey, so what's up? And then they ask you right away a weird fetish of some sort. And it's like,
Yes.
you know, like what are we
Yeah.
talking about here?
Yep. Or just off the bat in your DMs, like, hello, beautiful. You're
Yeah.
like, no,
Women have
no.
it so hard.
Just no. Like,
Yeah.
those are the ones I just delete. I try to interact with my followers. Just because like I want them to get to know me and whatever, but you can tell there's a clear distinction between like people who are interested in my comedy and people who are like, hey, beautiful, can I get your number? And it's like, nice drive, but
It sounds
no.
like some like 1940s, like, Ma, she,
Yeah.
hello, beautiful. What's
Hi,
up, you
beautiful.
toots?
Yep, exactly. What's up, sugar toots? And I'm just like, no, it's not for me.
No, man.
I don't
Like,
know.
you're not a gentleman. You're a creep.
You're a
I
creep.
know
And
where
I'm
this
also
is
like,
going.
yeah, I know I know where it's going from a mile away before you even sent it. But I also am happy being single right now. Like, I'm 26. Like, I think quarantine is very lonely, and it makes me think more about like, oh, I wish I had like a boyfriend right now because I'm so alone. But in the real world, before all of this, I'm like very happy doing my own thing. I don't report to anybody. I don't have to worry about anybody. I can do whatever I want. Like, I've been single pretty much my whole life. So it's what I'm used to and it's what I'm
There's a lot more
at. Like,
relationship logistics when you're in a
yeah.
relationship.
Yeah,
I
I don't have
definitely
to deal
agree.
with that.
I feel like quarantine's definitely taught me that. And the solitude, it's really okay for me because
Hmm.
I go to sleep by myself anyways. Like, I fall asleep and,
Yeah.
I have my own dreams and thoughts. And I don't need to fall asleep just because, like, having an individual right next to me or anything.
Yeah. Oh, I don't either.
I process my own thoughts, like.
Yeah, I think we're probably both very like independent people is what it seems like. I don't know if you'd say the same for you, but I feel like we're both pretty independent, and I like to just do my own thing. And
especially when you want to just go do something, right?
Yeah.
Just go do it. Yeah. You don't have to worry about someone else's mood. Like,
You don't have to worry about anything. All you worry about is you. So I'm like dating myself right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selfish.
Exactly.
Good period of time right
Everyone deserves to be selfish for a little while, I think.
Especially like with your comedian, you being a comedian, like a lot of your material is kind of that edge, right? Like being, single and being able to relate with other individuals within that space.
Totally.
Too.
Yeah.
And then your friend group changes too when you're in a relationship, right?
Yeah. Like my friends will get a boyfriend and then I like stop seeing them that often, and I'm like, where did you go? Like, come back. But I get it. Like I mean, I can't say that wouldn't happen to me if I got a boyfriend. Like, I have no idea. But definitely being single is a large part of my stand-up. It's like a big part of my like shtick. And it's not self-deprecating, like I could never get a boy, like, nobody likes me. Like, it's not that. It's more just like the funny stuff that comes along with being single, like going on dates with people who are just awful, and like, just trying to relate to that group of people who feel the same way that I do. And I just love that about stand-up.
So, in this during COVID right now, what are some of the things that you've done to like really challenge your new material? I feel like with the pandemic, I feel like everyone's just talking about the pandemic. Everything's just all about the material is all about being in solitude. Like, how do you find and go about your new material?
I feel like for me, it's not so much about the pandemic, but it's about what's happened because of the pandemic. Like how my life is suddenly, I used to live in New York City, do stand-up every night. I suddenly live at home with my parents. Like, I feel like an adult baby, truly. Like, they do everything for me. A lot of what I'm working on now is how I'm like completely regressing, like sleeping in my childhood bedroom. My parents, I'm like, can you make dinner for me? And they like do it. It's just like, I think that's a lot of what I'm.
Do you have chores?
No, but
they don't put a list on the refrigerator. No. Give you an allowance.
I don't have chores, but there are expectations.
Okay.
Of like, clean your stuff, clean your dishes, like, they're very clean. My parents are so, like, living with my parents when I've been out of the house for a long time and then coming back, they want me to clean stuff while I'm still eating it. I'm like eating cereal and they're like, put that bowl in the dishwasher. And I'm like, I'm still eating though. So I think a lot of it is just
so much pressure.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I'll clean it when I'm ready. Like, come on. But I just think life has changed so much that like there's this whole set of experiences, like this new set of experiences to like dig into and make jokes about. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it is challenging. It's a challenge because you don't want to be being like hack and making all these jokes about the pandemic that are kind of overdone. So I think it's always about trying to find like a unique voice. And I think when I'm most successful is when I'm like most authentic to myself and I'm not trying to appeal to other people. I'm truly speaking about my own experience. And then the beautiful thing about stand-up is that you do that and you get vulnerable and you put your real self out there, and then when you get a good reaction from that and people are like, I feel the same way, it's such a feeling of like, you're like, we're all going through the same stuff. It's
100%.
like, yeah, it's really nice.
I do want to say that I have a lot of appreciation for you being able to just be vocal about what you believe in during the systemic pandemic. There's a lot of turmoil. Obviously, we're in the political year in this climate. There's a lot of tension, and you can cut that tension with a knife right now.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel about people utilizing their voice through social media, talking about issues? Do you think it's been effective? Like, what are are you receiving any backlash because of it?
I think that I'm all for it. Like, I think say what you want about social media. It's turning us into monsters. It's turning us into zombies. Like, nobody can read a book anymore. Like, say what you want. But what it has proven through this is that social media has the ability to mobilize people and educate people about things and get them like riled up about something that they might not have known about. And, you know, like, a lot of people are sedentary or like not taking action because they just don't know. One, they don't know what's going on, and two, they don't know how to take action. So I think, like, for me, I don't have a huge following. I have like a small platform, but it's a platform nonetheless. And I'm like, I'm going to use it whenever I can, because, you know, and like a lot of this like Black Lives Matter stuff that I'm posting, like, I'm not posting it to show my Black friends that I'm supporting them. Like, of course I'm supporting them. I'm posting it so that my white followers who might not know this stuff can like have resources and like know where to go. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, as long as you're not doing it as a show of like, what's it called? Like performance activism.
Yes.
And you really mean like, I want these people to see what I'm posting and feel inspired by it. And like, oh, if she can get really involved in this, then like, so can I, you know?
100%. It seems like, you know, a lot of people have like these polarizing opinions, and, you know, I'm actually more on the side that I kind of want to see people show who they really are, right? The other day on my story, I posted this throuple on a beach that had, they had the Confederate flag tops and bottoms. This guy had a swastika on his back.
I've seen that picture.
Yes, and I was like, you know what? I actually appreciate this photo more than the hidden hatred that happens.
Come right out and say it.
At least I would rather see that all day, because it shows you how foolish you look, right?
Yeah.
You know, it just looks dumb, you know, like, yeah. I can say that. It looks stupid.
It looks stupid, and it's unbelievable that there are people out there like that in the same country, in the same planet as us. Like, it's crazy. And I think for me, like, with a lot of this social justice stuff is like recognizing that I come from a place of like extreme privilege. And like, I think my voice, like, you need all perspectives in the conversation. So I think that like, coming from me, it's like, I have this different lived experience, and here's how I'm like trying to learn, and here's how I'm adjusting and trying to like better myself, because you can't help the situation you were born into. I can't help that I was born went to a high school that was like literally 99% white. Like, you can't help it, but what you can do is learn and change. And I think that I just want to show people like me who come from the same background that like, it's time to get involved. Like, let's go.
It makes it really difficult too when, you know, everything that we were taught in school, as far as history, just like left out a lot of things, right? And so everyone is like catching up on being educated on, you know, a lot of the social issues that we're having right now. And so, you know, when things have not been presented to us as facts or the truth, the factual things, instead of the heroic stories that we hear, Davy Crockett, or, you know, it's funny, like how the heroism is just a part of our history. It's like, and we won this war, and, you know, it's all about greatness, you know, like, and it's really, I don't really believe that there's truly a good or bad. And, you know, this is not to influence our listeners or viewers at all, you know, to believe what I believe, but I believe that, you know, on the bad side, you know, they think they're good too. And, you know, whatever they're fighting for, you know, they're inheriting. And so it's kind of, you know, in order to really understand our enemies, we have to realize that, you know, they have some of the same similar thoughts about us, or vice versa. You know, it's polarizing opinions, but like we both think that we're good, right?
The same like intent, I guess. Like the same, and it's just so crazy to think about, like, in high school, studying, let's say, like, okay, I'm taking American history this year, and just getting like a textbook, like one textbook that is American history, and it's like that that's so wrong thinking about it now. Like one person's account or one company, group of people's account of history, like that's not the whole story.
Chapters, like, you know, you get A, B, C, or D as a choice to pick whatever, and that tells the entire story when you take the test.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, man, there was a lot more that went into that, right?
Yeah. And I didn't start really like getting into the nitty gritty of like race and gender studies until college, when I studied I was a sociology major, and suddenly I was getting,
for a little bit.
Oh really?
For a little bit, yeah.
I love it. It's the best. And I was getting all these like new resources thrown at me and reading books about like people that come from different like backgrounds as me, and it just really like opened my eyes. And it's made circling back to your question about the social media posting and stuff, it's kind of like, in addition to comedy, it's made it a big part of my life is like fighting for racial justice and social justice. And like, if I weren't doing comedy, I think I would be doing something with that.
Yeah, no, I dig it. Yeah, that's it's very similar to me. You know, sociology actually opened up my mind of the power of groups and understanding how groups can be disenfranchised, or how groups interact with each other, everything through violence. And you know these debates and discussions that we're having, I mean, it's something that's been around for years, right? You know, it's nothing that's like brand new, but you know, there's a formula that's been in place that's kind of shows you like everything's eerily similar. And it's even wild how some of the sociologists and people could predict another pattern of some type of uproar like this, even in 2020. So yeah, there's a lot of science to how
it's
we
like
all
history
interact.
repeats itself.
It does.
It really does. And
throw technology in the mix, you know, it really, you know, it changes the big scape of things, you know?
Yeah, it really does. And you can see it in this movement that's happening. Like people who have been silent, like a lot of people who I follow from high school or whatever, who are not very active on Instagram, are suddenly like posting these things and getting involved. And it's like kind of awesome to see that. It just gives me hope that, you know, there is good to social media.
For sure. Right now, we're like getting to the point where it's down to the wire. We're in election year right now. The election is in November. And we saw that TikTok basically changed a lot with a couple preliminary rallies and different things. And one thing that does suck for me, again, I'm not trying to influence people to think like I do, but we have basically two options right now. I don't feel like they're two of the best options at all. They wouldn't be my pick at all if I could pick anyone to be leading the country. But there are some major decisions that everyone has to really choose from. And, you know, you're seeing people that are vocalizing their thoughts. I feel like it's everyone's trying to scare people. There's a lot of like, did you know that Trump did this? Or did you know that Joe Biden did this? And
for like shock factor almost.
Shock factor. And I'm not shocked by any of it.
To get people's emotions involved.
Yes.
It's like, yeah.
So my question is, with that, is do you believe that ranting gets people to change their mindset?
Ranting?
Yeah. It's like, okay, like all day, every day, someone's like so for Joe Biden or Donald Trump that, you know, they basically just go at the other side. It basically, you can see the bias, right?
Yeah.
To some degree.
Not at all. I think that that's not at all like the way to get people to change. I think like literally the way to do it is education and like reading about these, like people are saying that they feel these things because they're experiencing them. Who are we to deny this experience? Like you need to read what these people are saying, what these people are going through. Like you almost can't have that conversation with somebody until you've like looked into both sides. Both of you have looked into both sides. And I think that like ranting, it's like this one person saying stuff and you're like, who are you? Like, okay, Joe Schmo. Like, you know, I think that reading about it and like educating yourself is really the only thing that can sway people. Even my parents, like I will teach them things that they didn't know, and I'll be like, we need to watch this documentary together. Like even things like watching like RuPaul's Drag Race with my mom, now she's like gets it a little more, you know what I mean? Like I can't just rant and tell her like this is good and this is bad and this is how it is. You have to like kind of immerse yourself in it to understand it.
For sure. And it's like, it does make sense, because like, honestly, without actually seeing other cultures or different people, you know, we just have like no understanding at all. Like you have to see other sides, other stories other than yourself, because it allows you to be more versed as a human being. You might not know everything and can't speak for everyone, but at least it allows you to be abreast on, you know, this is not the first time I've seen someone in drag, or
exactly
whatever
and
it
like,
may be.
Ranting is very one-dimensional. It's very like, here's what I think and here's why I think that, for over and over and over and again and again. It's very like, it's just for me. I mean, it's not the way to sway me, I guess.
If you want your information to like be on your side and on a bias side, you can Google it and find whatever you want, right? Like, so you're going to be able to find whatever, you know, opposition that you need to validate your point.
Yeah. There's always something to back up what you feel and to validate what you feel.
And there's Facebook groups for that too.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
How do you feel about Facebook?
I don't really use Facebook. I like it because it has all my, like, they're private, but it has all my pictures from like high school, college, and it's kind of like an archive of these photos throughout the years. So that's really the only thing I use it for, is like, if I ever want to go back and look at old pictures, they're all on there, but I don't really use Facebook. Do you?
We do, because of Positive People Posse. You know, on a business aspect, and, you know, some of our older friends and people and family members, we use it. Me personally, I don't really enjoy it as much, because there's too much people stirring the pot. I feel like there's more constructive things to do other than like try to annoy and piss off your friends. Like,
exactly.
Do we really need to be friends?
Like, yeah, unfriend.
Yeah.
I do promote my stuff on Facebook. Like, I have a podcast and I'll post it on there, because who knows? I don't even know who follows me on Facebook, because I've had it for so long. So I do promote stuff on there. But I'm never like scrolling through Facebook like in the old, like back in the day when Facebook was all we had for social media, and that was what you would do. I'm not really ever like,
the things that get attention on Facebook are, you know, pretty much, you know, the hatred that happens and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we try to come at it with a positive angle, but our biggest base is going to be on Instagram. And actually, we have an email subscription. We have email subscribers, 15,000 of you guys. So thank you guys for subscribing to our
15,000?
Yes. We just in the last month and a half, we got about 3,000 new subscribers. So,
oh my God,
excited
that's
about
15,000 more than I have on my email list.
You don't use email at all? You should.
But I should.
Yeah, you should.
I should get a distro list.
Yeah, you should.
It's just like, I have nothing going on right now. It made sense when I was doing stand-up, and I'm like, I'm headlining this club, I'm doing a set here, I'm doing a set there. Now it's like, I don't have anything.
Watch me in my house eating cereal.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's all just adjusting to the time and figuring out what people want to see. But that's awesome. 15,000 is huge.
So what's like coming up for you? Like, you actually just started a podcast recently, and it's called, correct me if I'm wrong, Nobody Asked You to Start a Podcast? Is that what it is?
It's just called Nobody Asked with Tommy and Luisa.
Okay.
But that's basically, you just nailed like the log line of what it is. Like, nobody asked me to make a podcast. Every comedian in the world has a podcast that nobody asked for. Like in a way, it's making fun of the vanity that comes along with stand-up. Like,
you should start a podcast.
Who am I to think that anyone gives a shit what I have to say about anything? Like, nobody asked for this. And so it's me and my my best friend in comedy. His name's Tommy O'Regan, very funny. And it's really like a light, silly podcast. Like, we don't really get into we don't get into politics. We get into like why are bike seats uncomfortable? Like, what is that about? Make them comfortable. You know, like it's random, silly stuff. And it's been so much fun. And the response has been so good. And it's just like, it's the best. I mean, it's been the one thing that I have to like really put content out there.
And you look forward to doing it like every week too. So.
I so look forward to it. In a way, it feels a little bit like stand-up, but it's us two sort of like riffing and doing bits off of each other. It's like, well, yeah, like one of our segments is called Notes in My Phone. And it's like, as comedians, we're always writing down random joke ideas or random notes that we think of. And so on the podcast, we'll go and we'll get one of those notes from our phone and sort of like riff on it and go back and forth about like why that's funny, building on it. And it's just, it's in a way, it's a look at how comedians make jokes.
I love it.
Yeah, it's very fun.
So how about, let me throw out this idea, because I saw one of your Instagram posts where it was like, you're trying to replicate someone who's like pouring a drink and they're singing and whatever.
Oh my God.
And then you did your rendition on it. I'm thinking it'd be kind of cool if you like did like a Zoom karaoke at some point in time. Like,
I mean, strictly Nickelback. Strictly Nickelback. I'll do it if it's just that. That video was really funny. I have to admit, I laughed really hard at that video, and it's of me. So. See,
that's the funny thing about me as well. Like I laugh more at my jokes than people laugh at my jokes. So.
Mm-hmm. My friends always say, right? You have to. My friends always say I'm the funniest person I know. They're like, not the funniest person we know. You're the funniest person that you know.
Like, oh my God, I am so awesome. And
yeah, but it was this girl on TikTok, this like really hot girl who's like such a good singer. She like makes her coffee while she's singing like a gorgeous song. And I was like, I'm gonna do my version of it. And I'm like fucking belting Photograph by Nickelback while making my coffee. It just, it's just another thing of like self-deprecating. Like,
okay, is your phone by you right now?
Always.
Okay, all right. Go to your Instagram and check out your discovery. What's in your discovery?
Okay, how do I even get to discovery?
You go to that little magnifying glass.
Okay. Okay, first thing is that girl on TikTok that has millions of followers, Charlie something. A lot of Gigi Hadid, because I've been like recently diving into like her pregnancy story. A lot of Below Deck, because I've become obsessed with Below Deck. I literally applied to go on it, and they're like,
shut up.
They're like, you don't know anything about boats. Yeah. They're like, why do you want to be on it? I was like, they're like, do you have any experience with boats? And I was like, is that a qualification? They're like, yeah. Ariana Grande, Billie Eilish. Interesting. This is a lot of celebrities, which is weird for me because I don't usually care about celebrities. Like Jennifer Aniston's having a baby. Like I usually don't care.
The algorithm is weird though, right?
The algorithm is so weird.
Well, mine has nothing but Insta butts and skateboarding.
Well, there you go.
I'm like, I didn't realize that I was creeping so hard. And so it's made me like force myself to be like, dude, you need to stop being a creep. You're better than that,
like,
Dom.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the Discover page like tells you the truth about yourself that maybe you weren't ready to face, but it makes you.
I was like, damn, I really need to change my habits.
You're like, I'm a creep.
I'm a freaking creep. We can do better, gentlemen.
I love that.
We can do better.
Yeah.
That's just me being honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's honesty makes for the best jokes, the funniest stuff, even if it's embarrassing. I love to embarrass myself. So,
Luisa, how can people find you?
On Instagram, it's at Luisa Lange, LuisaLange. And then on Twitter, it's at Luisa_Lange. And the link to like my podcast and everything is on my Instagram. So follow that, give it a listen. It's very like, I almost promise that you'll laugh out loud, which is
favorite
a bold
episode.
Statement.
Favorite episode. Which one?
What is my favorite episode? Probably the one we just filmed last night that's coming out tomorrow.
Okay, what is it called? Because this is going to air in maybe a week.
Our one last week was really funny too. Oh, we had an episode where we talked about how chocolate, do you know Crullers, the donuts?
Yes.
They've disappeared from the internet. Like, they've been wiped. You can't find a picture of a Cruller from Dunkin' Donuts, especially, anywhere. So we go into that. That was a funny episode. The one that's coming out tomorrow is probably going to be called Nobody Asked About, I haven't chosen the title yet, maybe bike seats, which is also a funny conversation. It doesn't sound like it'd be funny, but it really is.
Okay, tell me about that. Just give me like a little bit of an explanation on that.
Tommy basically was like, hey, like in our segment, what's pissing you off? He was like, hey, why are bike seats so uncomfortable? Like, why is that necessary? And then we go back and forth being like, that's so not. And I was like, you know what? It's probably dudes who are like OG cyclists being like, if you can't fucking handle the hard seat, you're not meant for this, bro. Like someone out there is fighting to keep bike seats uncomfortable. And we kind of talk about that. We like, I don't know. It's very goofy and silly and fun. And yeah.
No, I appreciate it all. You were awesome. Yeah, thanks for doing this interview.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Indeed. So everyone, thank you guys for listening. This is another episode brought to you by Positive People Posse, 3P Media. We can help you out with your digital marketing needs. Follow us at Positive People Posse on Instagram, Facebook. It's at Positive People Posse. Our website is positivepeopleposse.com. And I will see you next time. Live freely, stay positive.